Good afternoon, Director Hargun Ratilaka, ADCP here. Today we'll be covering the ASIO investigation, medical issues, medical evaluations, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military foreign LRAD or LRAD. Charles Copperman, National Security Advisor, he asked me to put this together to detail the enterprise infrastructure solutions work for ASIO's investigation, medical issues, medical evaluation, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military foreign. The enterprise infrastructure solutions, some of them, not all of them, just a few of them, covering them in going through some screenshots. Joint warfighting cloud capability. This is a new requirement for the Department of Defence. This goes into the Enterprise Infrastructure Solutions contract. Congested battlefield, contested and congested. Data collection and aggregation, data and analytics, spectrum access sharing, standardized determination. There we have the cloud, artificial intelligence, AI. Cloud and artificial intelligence for the warfighter. Command control communications. The cyber landscape, encryption, artificial intelligence and the cloud. Defense enterprise, cloud environment, enterprise cybersecurity data, centers and transport. Here we have the Jedi, now the joint warfighting cloud capability. Cloud data, cyber AI, cloud data, digital modernization. Driving Navy's competitive edge, build information superiority and win the naval fight. Navy's information dominance. Department of Navy infrastructure is on par with industry. Defense enterprise cloud strategy. MI6, CIA, USMI Director General. ASIO investigation, medical issues, medical evaluations, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military foreign with the LRAD. Some handwritten notes. Takes a long time for analysis. Breathing problems occupied the room. Domestic violence. Navy provides training. Does the diagnosis meet US Defense Health Agency criteria? You're not getting help for your symptoms. Hospital industry standards. Protocols. medical fraud, PBS. Medicare's and the reward. Actual diagnosis. Priority for the war on terror. Military can easily detect the sound. MI direct operations to present findings. Fixated unusual persons acting unusual. Patients dissatisfied with their medical evaluation. Har is only interested in performing the best job he can possibly do for the multiple agencies he works for. ASIO ascertained they worry about how it affects their career. Har can't go on living the way he does. Har is multi-mission intelligence support and they accomplish all their objectives except for the telephone. SOCOM Director General Operations, Special Operations Command. They copied all of our work. They executed our operation as well. We think that they're mental, actually. Ask what is unusual, what causes it, what they do is hovering. What are the symptoms? Fixation, unusual. How do they know if they have it? Those groups are identified as 296 and 297. Medical, ASIO, investigation, medical issues, medical evaluations, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military for an LRAD. It's hard to concentrate, normal life, education, work. The witnesses to fixation. Patients relapse later on. They diagnose as having thoughts or feelings. They convinced everyone to get rid of me. The treatment is removing the underlying cause. Michelle Bogmore's case was having thoughts. They were paid. How long will the symptoms persist for? For the remainder of their life. Patients had a legitimate concern. What was the clinical outcome they seek? Why do they give them a Valium-diazepam when patients arrive? To settle them. Then a depot for a year. So they give them a Valium-diazepam. Obviously something's happening. Obviously something is happening. It's a legitimate concern. ASIO alleges medical fraud as per 456 and 235. Almost every patient has made an incident report. They keep trying to put the patient back on depot. %, when they identified a case baffled them. They put in mental health when they identified a case. Significant risk associated with adverse clinical. There are significant risks associated with the adverse clinical outcomes. Similar findings returning service members from Iraq, Afghanistan. So similar, we identified 2017, they do the same thing to returning service members in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were given the Australian National Security Workers online. They set me up and planned to celebrate my victory. Brand the medicos. Past problems were a result of the mega activities for 15 years. Contradiction. They gave me 2 medications to overdose me. Compare those individuals with no previous mental illness for contradiction. No prior mental illness for contradiction. So they repeat, the process is repeated over and over again. They have access to our medical evaluations, ASIO's medical evaluations, investigation work, medical issues, medical evaluation, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military phone, evidence and working notes. They claim to be the leadership over HAR's mission. They do admire our mission as well for some reason. I'm not quite sure. We asked them today why they copy our work. They claim ASIO work. Repeat the most mega subversion process. Ignore these subversion activities. They reinstate they all got charged for pretending to be ASIO now. They'll take down ASIO suspects. Hire on disability support and depot injection community treatment order, CTO. ASIOs in medical evaluations, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military phone. Transferring our pay to themselves. It's about placing people on disability in all the interconnected services. ASIO currently executing ASIO investigations. Medical issues, medical evaluation, medical standards, safeguards, protect health treatments with the South African military phone. All the while they aim for a HAR's award. ASIO notify HAR's. ASIO currently working Australia-wide achieving our medical reforms. They're bullying on the LRAD medication regime. The doctors gave me a lot of problems on the medication. Combination ensure they're constantly defeated in enduring a lifetime of hardship. They plan to transfer my work and investments. Investigate the topic of suicide manoeuvred for the Director General. The topic of suicide with the LRAD. Choice of preventing suicide. They competed with the Director General. Achieving the promise of suicidally intervention, managing and treating suicide risks in service members. Yes, I did write it. Adaptive Rehabilitation Program, NDIS. National Disability Insurance Scheme. Disruption sequence. Coercive control. They use the MegaRay. They stop you from. They do this in our house here as well. Stop you from washing. They call it blocking. Stop you from mopping the floor. Stop you from cooking. Stop you from washing your clothes. Stop you from gardening. Stops you from talking to MegaRay. And then they put you on mental health. Then when you complain, they put you on mental health. ASIO asks examples of MegaRay coercive control include. Other examples. Their victims are alone and there's no resources to help people available to provide them with assistance. They're alone and there's no resources. Was intended to counter mega schizophrenic group. Say, ASIO medical program, medical issues, medical evaluations, medical standards and safeguards to protect health treatments with the South African military phone and hour unit was intended to counter Mega's group schizophrenic program and help victims. The schizophrenic program is linked to coordinators, community-based support groups, community-based advocacy and legal services referral to in coordination with other treatment providers, connection to domestic violence shelters, homeless services, interventions for victims who use violence. They also include resources for mental health, justice outreach and employee occupational health and assistance programs. Their campaign of coercive control partnership address housing, education, employment for financial benefit. So this is all medical fraud. Political saying safe. Illness, injury, depending on the level of care you need, you seek urgent care, emergency care, urgent care clinics. Work in service appointment injury is life-threatening, go to the emergency room immediately. You have children, make sure older children stick with their friends and review their planned emergency procedures. This is very dangerous with children. So I just remind children to look for predators that identify them. For victims, also inspect treats for signs of tampering, such as unusual appearance of discoloration, tiny pinhole stairs, rappers. These people, they do a lot of things, these MegaRay people, or pedophiles, very dangerous. Depending on the level of care you need. Answer your urgent quick questions. There's 40 questions. You do all the patient's fail medications, what they include. No doctors could answer these questions. It's an inferior program. An inferior program they have. Police lying on the information emergency room technologies, electronic health record software. The FBI let everyone in the community saying the local cops are lying, got caught by everybody. They've stolen the ASIO work. We're seeing their legacy cops have Director Hargun-Clark's work. ASIO flew their fake overseas military prison. Scheduled to deploy. The VA was scheduled to deploy a commercial health information emergency room technology and electronic health with software coordinator, but just a few days after the firing of Duncan Lewis by agencies and official tasks under the law with heading up the project. Both training and staff at the ASIO site. Information emergency room technology, electronic health record software that was estimated 75 to 80% complete. With medical treatments, VA clinics expected to use information emergency room technology, electronic testifying before the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Intelligence and Security that the two interfaces for sharing data and community health providers and supporting patients who use multiple medical facilities to receive care throughout the year were not ready. room. Technology's electronic health record plug into the rest of the system. My initial go live did not include schizophrenic depot schedules, prescription refills. They left out the depot injection from the My Health record. They don't want, you can't review any of these things. The doctors don't allow any scrutiny. Then they say you're mental as well and the medication debilitates you. And when you do scrutinise them, they just ignore it. There's not much they do. Sorry, in the main guy saying they do it. Who does it? They don't do it. We're looking at various models to find out a sustainment and refresh going forward. Mirror. I'm not sure that that'll be the case going forward. ASIO recovery program before and after. These medicos also had a recovery program. They've done the recovery a few times. They've given up, I think. So bike riding, running, chores, domestic. This is proprietor them putting me on depot. Patients' complaints were a real legitimate concern. The medicos attend the patient's house. The medicos ask the police to attend to take them to hospital. They use people to say state they relapsed. They ask other people if they relapsed based on other people's statement. So they put people on depot based on other people's statements. So other people are making the diagnosis. So if they base their you're putting on your depot on based on someone else's statement, that means that they're making the diagnosis. What did they state? ASIO replace the old mental health treatments with a new one, ask who they are, handbook letters, fact sheets and more, who publishes them, so you can fill out here. These people copy everything that ASIO does. They're crazy. They're never going to get into ASIO ever in their life. Health professionals submit Medico bulk bill claims electronic virtual real-time assessment through health professional online services. ASIO investigation, medical problems trying to establish a credible link between police management practice and psychiatry. Operating the margins of business. Should be thinking about the problem Mega Ray sonic device audible. Mega Ray sonic device. Electromagnetic coil, moving coil. National standard. Electronic diagrams. So that's got to be included in the buildings. In the BSA code, building standards, Australia codes, BSA codes, building codes. In the drawings that there's a telephone there. They left it out, they leave it out. Let's go back to that drawing. So for the engineers, you've got to include there's a telephone there with the Mega Ray, electromagnetic coil, all the different symbols for a telephone or speaker. Otherwise I'll fail the BSA codes. Police management, do cops apprehending. Alleged engagement may be seen as a psychological connection between employees and their work. Police management has measured various management practices encouraging engagement. What did they state? How good environment is created for the employees. What did they state to the post supervisor, team leader? These are the police in your workplace. In your psychiatry, when they find you a job, when you're in mental health and they find you a job, they contact the job. The police contact the workplace, and most people can't work on the medication. They gather information on management practices from employee respondents to the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey and information on agency performance from supervisors at the same agency has responded on agency performance. They ask supervisors to rate both the overall quality and of work done by your work unit and how well the agency is successfully accomplishing its mission. The latter question is probably less subject to inflated ratings, since supervisors can be more objective about rating the organisation's overall performance, which they have less control, than rating the works unit's performance, over which they have more control. As a result, the study produces results that are credible enough for me to report on here. What do they find? Employee perceptions about management behaviour, senior organisational leaders is strongly related to supervisor perceptions of organisational effectiveness. Employee perceptions of the quality of supervision are related through quite weakly to work unit effectiveness. The employee level variables of how the employee talents are used do not relate to better performance. Whatever moniker we use to characterise what is being measured here, whether it be employee engagement or just good management, managers do make a difference. Hopefully this result can help motivate managers to understand and act on the importance of their efforts. ASIO asked, do the doctors and medical professionals at work ensure that evidence-based practices are used in mental health clinics and acute care? One of the developing long-term strategic approaches to criminal cases, training resources to standard processes and policies. I get the $50 billion, my $50 billion contract. The housing unit gets $50 billion for enterprise solutions. I get it because I did it. $50 billion there. Mental disorientation and mental confusion. So now they set him up saying he was schizophrenic. They use their family members as witnesses. The doctors use the family members as witnesses. Force protection in Vegas sustained a Palaparado and Department of Defense. That's what I'm diagnosed with. I'm diagnosed with doing this work as schizophrenic. Testing considerations. We don't want them to have any money. They're on our fuck list, on ASIO's fuck list. So stay out of our work. It's only for ASIO, MI5, MI6 and the CIA and the FBI. They steal everything, these fucking pigs. They got charged with espionage just now. They got charged with espionage. They just think they can just take whatever they like. LRAD Medicine Health. Health service guys use security LRAD video conferencing to provide medical and necessary services. Secure with operator using computer or smartphone. You're connected with an operator using a computer or smartphone. So you are connected with an operator using computer or smartphone. Doctor's office, critical access hospital. Make changes to LRAD Health. Where you get your test. See if they're using it from alternatively they can provide the telephone recordings. The ADF can provide the recording. LRAD audio only conferencing. Sonic unit phone calls. Alleged duty service members need a referral for LRAD mental care. Applied behavioural analysis. They complain about your applied behavioural analysis. They use that, they stir you up, they disrupt everything, stop everything, get you furious sometimes, get you put you under enormous amounts of pressure that they're always getting you, constant anxiety, and then they complain about your behaviour. They're all rat bags, these people, dirty rat bags. They do all this stuff to children as well on this. Change and breakdown to lock his duty status. Mental and physical interconnected. So you ascertain whether it's intelligence or not. Core attributes and evidence collected, evidence validated, evidence verified. Evidence-based identity proofing to ascertain whether your intelligence is by ascertaining your work, the quality of your work. Training deficiencies via adding it to the electronic health record system. There's a report there. Adding the migrate to the health system.